You're watching Tech Edit. My name is Basil and it is official. Nothing has finally updated its design with a new Nothing Phone 3. We've seen similar design across the Phone 1, Phone 2, 2A, 3A, but this time around everything is overhauled. From the Glyph light system right through to the look and feel of the camera setup, it still looks and feels traditionally Nothing, but everything has been moved about and given a new lease of life. I'm going to dive into all the details in a second. I had some hands-on time with it and got a complete lowdown of the specs. But before I do, if you're not already subscribed to Tech Edit, please do. It's how you stay on top of everything that I do. Now, it's worth noting I have worked with Nothing in a consulting capacity for full transparency, but this is not a paid video. It is not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. Right, let's get into the Nothing Phone 3. Starting with a hot new feature, the Phone 3's new Glyph Matrix is a circular LED disc made of 489 individually firing lights. It's way more functional than before. It can act as a low-tech mirror to help you frame your selfies, caller ID, stopwatch, and you can also have a bit of fun with it with spin the bottle, magic 8-ball, and my personal favorite, rock, paper, scissors. You operate them by pressing the Glyph button, which sits just below the light disc, which is called the Glyph Matrix. And it takes a single press to cycle through your applications, or as Nothing terms them, toys. And if you long press, then it'll select and dive into the specific feature. I was pleasantly surprised at the launch event when I was holding the phone, pressing the Glyph button, how responsive it was. It was really intuitive because this interface is so simple. So hopefully that translates to real world use. Design-wise, this phone is a tale of two halves. You've got the back and the front. The front is very, very familiar. Yes, the bezels are smaller, symmetrical all the way around. So very, very nice, but nothing stand out. Around the back though, it's really, really different. You've got an asymmetric design with an almost architectural grid. The camera positioning looks a bit weird on first glance, but I definitely don't hate it. It's available in a black and white color, but because of the kind of transparent back, creating a layering, there's more difference than your typical black and white phones. It's also worth noting if you have the black one, the Glyph Matrix, the disc, just disappears when not in use. But if you get the white one, there's very clearly a black disc there that teases a functionality within. Definitely, if you like a more kind of stealthy undercover vibe, you want the black one. The white one is a bit more stand out. The camera arrangement is pretty interesting. Unlike with Sony and Samsung, where you have a strip of cameras, or with Oppo and Xiaomi, you have a big camera surround slap bang in the middle. Here you've got three kind of individual camera lenses dotted around in an asymmetric fashion on the top left of the back of the phone. And it looks weird. And I'm not sure if I love it or I hate it. I think it's probably somewhere in the middle. I'd be really interested to know what you think. I know some of the leaked renders of this specific model had people being like, this isn't the camera, look at it. But it is. So let me know what you think in the comments and I'll let you know what I think in more detail in my full review down the line. The phone's IP68 water and dust resistant, which is cool. The black one's frame is kind of a gun metal and the white one's is a silver, both buffed and like quite matte to the touch, which is nice. And the phone feels on the whole quite solid. It isn't super thin. It's around 8.9 millimeters. There's a silicon carbon battery. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh my God, this phone's going to be super thin, or it's going to have a really big, like 6,000 milliamp battery. But neither of those things are true, which makes me think that that Glyph Matrix system, the lights, added bulk. But it still feels relatively comfortable because the screen isn't huge, so it's easy to hold in one hand. It's a 6.67-inch flexible AMOLED with a 1260 by 2800 resolution. 120 Hz adaptive refresh rate is cool. It's a peak HDR brightness of 4500 nits. Outdoor viewing should be good in high brightness mode, which won't get quite so high, but still. And thanks to the OLED tech, obviously, you've got a really great contrast ratio, deep inky blacks, punchy colors on first impression. Jumping inside the screen, and it's Android 15 with 5 years of software updates and 7 years layers of security updates, which is good. And you also have Nothing OS 3.5. If you've used a Nothing phone before, you will know what to expect. It's a similar experience here, but it's slightly updated, slightly refreshed. And a lot of that refinement comes in the form of essential space and the essential key. So on the phone, I didn't mention when I talked around the design, on the right side, there is a button which is dedicated to essential space, which is Nothing's AI kind of, I'm not going to say assistant, but it's almost like a super smart repository. You can capture stuff and it doesn't just save it, it indexes it, it understands it, it pulls relevant information from it, and it creates action points around the things you save. And the new features are essential search and flip to record. So if you hold the essential key, turn your phone around, it'll record a meeting or whatever's going on, and it will transcribe and summarize, turn that into actionable points, etc. And if you want to use essential search, it goes beyond your traditional search. We've seen something similar on OnePlus phones. It goes through to the widgets, it goes through to your contacts, it goes through to your files as well. So it just pulls the information from your entire phone using AI to get some context for everything and give you, ideally, the most useful result possible. As for the cameras, there are 3 around the back, 1 on the front. All of them are 50 megapixel resolution. They all have 4K 60 frames per second video recording, which is sweet. And the primary camera is a 1/1.3 inch sensor, while the periscope telephoto camera can do macro photography as well, and video obviously. But that macro focus means you've got telemacro, super high impact, zoomed in macro close-up shots, and obviously it'll be solid hopefully for portrait photos, etc. I haven't really tested it out in too much detail, but the first thing I did notice coming from the Nothing Phone 3A Pro, which had a really awesome tele camera, is this is so much quicker, which I'm really excited about. One of the reasons it's quicker is because of the Snapdragon 8S Gen 4 inside. Now we've seen this on the Poco F7, which is a much cheaper phone, as I'll come on to, but the Poco F7 can't stack up to the Nothing Phone 3 when it comes to camera hardware and also standout design. So if you're a gamer and that's all you care about, the Poco F7 will probably edge ahead, but if you want a whole package, it looks like the Nothing Phone 3A is shaping up really nicely. It's available in either 256 or 512 gigabytes of storage. The starting capacity 256 gig version has 12 gigabytes of RAM, and it costs £799, $799, €799, and I'm not actually mad about the price. Yes, it's more expensive than the Poco F7. Yes, the chipset could be better at the price, but because of everything else that you get here, you get cameras that outperform a lot of the competition, you get design that stands out and looks and thinks differently. It's still a really cool, compelling phone. I would personally opt for the 512 gigabyte version, which has 16 gigabytes of RAM for even more future proofing, and that will set you back £899, $899 and €899. Very easy to remember. Powering the phone is a 5150 milliamp silicon carbon battery. 5150 milliamps in UK and Europe. If you're in other regions, it may vary. That's bigger, higher capacity at least, than the Galaxy S25 Ultra, Xperia 1 Mark 7, and most other traditional flagships. So slightly smaller than the batteries that you get in the newest Chinese flagships, which edge up to 6000 milliamps thanks to that silicon carbon battery tech. It does power quickly, 65 watts wired, and there's also wireless charging here as well. And with that, my impressions of the Nothing Phone 3 have come to an end. I'm really curious to know what you guys think. This is perhaps one of the most divisive phones around when it comes to design. It really is new in a lot of respects. Let me know what you think. Also, like I said at the beginning of the video, if you're not already subscribed to Tech Edit, please do. It's how you stay on top of everything that I do. It helps me out like crazy. And if you enjoyed this video, ding that like button. Thank you so much for watching.